You ready? All right. This is the Handbook Committee Special Meeting Agenda of October 21st, 2025. Call the meeting to order. This meeting was properly posted on October 7th. Thank you, Cassie. So we're going to start with item 1. Oh, let's do roll call. Start with Grace.
Brandy Martins for District 2.
Paul Foster, District 3. Brian Jones for District 1.
Leanne Mines, Assessor's Office.
Stacy Rogers, Treasurer's Office. Erin McConnell, County Clerk's Office.
Brandon Home Sheriff's Office.
Rick Buchanan, Mr. Rick Warren, Court Clerk. All offices, elected officials' offices are represented. Let's start with item 1, discussion and possible action regarding the minutes of September 16th.
Move to approve the minutes. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We do have a special guest in the meeting today. And I don't know, I would like to, have you passed this out?
Office.
I passed them out.
You did?
I
Okay.
did. Sorry, John.
This is John Wilkerson for folks at home or anyone watching online. He is with our benefits director of our benefits department.
And so what I did is the items that reflect the benefits, I just brought some stuff for some input on each item. And then once we get to the leave of absence without pay, I brought that item to discuss.
Okay. All right. I don't know.
What number is it? Work it up. This number, that one's for the number 6.
The top part is.
Yeah, and probably number maybe 15, because I don't know, these agenda items allow you to go that deep. Because it's really specific when you get to leave without pay on that agenda item.
Yeah, John, as long as we get to, I would think, item 15, and you said item 6.
And then I have item 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 2.
That you would like to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, well, we'll just, when we get to that part,
Okay.
I would ask that you go to the podium when you do speak, okay, sir? All right. Item 2. This is, let me just do the headline here. Discussion possible action to accept additional changes to FMLA section of the handbook draft. And this is requested right there in the column.
Okay, this item was actually deferred from the September meeting to allow the DA's office some time to review. So until she's here to weigh in, I don't know if we want to defer it again or.
Well, if she shows up, we'll just move it to the Hill document. Is that okay? Do we need a motion to move it to the?
So you would just table it, and then if you wanted to move it to your next meeting, you would defer.
So motion to table 2.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3, discussion possible action to accept changes to the range benefits introductory section of the handbook draft requested by Aaron. Go ahead, Aaron.
What page is this?
So to pull up, yeah.
Okay.
33.
Of the latest version?
This is Erin's version. Give me just a moment, because this is what's going to show her changes. So, latest version. Nope. There we go.
Yeah, it is still page 33 next one.
Just so everyone knows, I put out a new draft version after each meeting, thanks to Leanne, who takes notes, and I send it out. with some notations and markups, grammar corrections, and other things. I do not have put it out with any suggested policy changes. So that's why I do that.
So if you go back to what you had pulled up, see those two documents. So what I was doing is looking at the document that was attached to the agenda, and that's what I was going off of when I did my review for these these 4 items. I just clicked and whatever pull up. That's the document I used. I didn't have this version of it, so let me just look at my version, and I think we're fine with that. So I'm fine with number 3 as is.
John, I did take what you sent me and incorporated it into this new version, the
Okay.
RB version.
So on the item, it had the old one attached to it. So when I went and looked, that's what I saw. So we can just work through these fringe benefits. If that's the update, I'm good with that.
The version on the right,
Right, yeah.
is that mine, Cassie?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good
All
with
right.
that.
But I do believe Aaron has some comments.
It looks like you made my first change, just moving that, workers' comp over. My other recommendations for this section are just to kind of spell out rather than linking benefits and retirement. So if you have this handbook printed, you can still access the website, because you're obviously not going to be able to click this if it's printed or if it's PDF'd without, the link. Lastly, just putting you had the director of benefits is John Wilkerson and your phone number, just moving that up to the first.
So I would take that out for sure. I would take that section out of contacting me, kind of our staff makeup. We have Lee that handles active employees, Roberta handles all the retirees. So I would prefer to put, you can contact the Employee Benefits Department at benefits@oklahomacounty.org or by calling 405-713-2249 or 405-713-1803. We have lots of people, gets lots of calls. So that way it kind of gets them to the correct spot when they call.
Read those two numbers.
Sure. So for the first one is you can email us by emailing benefits@oklahomacounty.org, or you can call us at 405-713-2249 or 405-713-1803.
So Aaron, that amends what you're talking about. Would
Yeah.
you accept those amendments?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would move to add in the hyperlink, the full language, and then use what John just spoke on to correct the contact information for the benefits department.
Is there a second?
What did you say may contact the, instead of director of benefits?
The
what
benefits
was
department.
Just benefits
Yeah, the
department.
benefits department.
Good. John,
We deal with
actually,
about 2,700 belly buttons, so I just want to make sure we get the correct stuff in there.
and you actually take vacation sometimes.
Yeah,
from what I
sometimes.
understand.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure they get the correct, in that kind of direction of the correct people to handle
Okay,
in our department.
there's a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye. No, I didn't hear a second. I'm sorry.
I'll second.
All right, say aye for that section. Aaron, are we still on?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you call her?
All right, there was a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you. Aaron, keep going. And John can comment.
Sure, if you can scroll down just a little bit on that health insurance section so I can see that. I think that looks great. I don't have any changes unless Aaron does.
Why don't you scratch out over 75% of portion, and then in the latest version, it still has over 75%.
I remove that in case that ever changes. I know it changes year to year.
So yeah, portion's good, I think. 'Cause portion.
Yeah.
And then go down just a little bit, just to make sure. Do a little bit. Okay. I'm good with that section unless anyone has any suggestions.
You're, sorry to clarify, you're good with the
But your
changes
new one-
recommended under 4? Okay,
Correct.
so I would move to approve item.
So we're on 104. Right? Okay. Is there a second? Everybody concur? Or?
Can you scroll down just a little bit? I just want to see the rest of. Okay. Okay.
I guess real quick though, the only, going back up, the only question would be, is there a need to keep the law enforcement language in there since that?
Yeah, I think from my understanding, that was addressed somewhere else in the handbook where it was moved, so we don't have to have that in there. We have the plain documents that really, that are the rules for the retirement plan, the health plans, and those supersede any of this, but we have to kind of have matching up
Yes,
policies.
I was
I'll
actually
get to that here in a second.
because I mean, regardless of the law enforcement work schedule, it's the law is still 30 hours per week, right?
30 hours or more, yeah. So I'm comfortable taking that out for sure.
So you're still seconding?
So the thing that we're discussing is what goes all the way down until retirement starts. Is that correct on this little section? Healthcare insurance.
No, ma'am, just the, until it says move changes in family status here, like
Okay.
above that, so
Okay.
November, ending on occurs each.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. So we're through with item 4.
And then change, or what is this one? This
Change.
changes
Wait,
in
wait.
family status.
Hang on there,
I'm
brother.
sorry.
That's okay. Notice the DA stepped in for a hot second. But let's go on to item 5. This is discussion and possible action to make changes in family status section. And I have that draft to immediately follow healthcare insurance. This is item 5, and it came from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. You're up.
Okay, so just taking that section, which is on page. $37. Changes in family status, and moving it there as you're kind of talking about when enrollment is.
And the only change I have to this, I'm comfortable with moving that, is loss of coverage is all we need to put there. We need to remove due to spouse's employment, because a kid can lose employment, coverage. There's a lot of reasons people lose coverage. So we just need to remove due to a loss of spouse's employment from that. And just
Okay.
put loss of coverage. That's the only thing I had to add to that.
So in the changes of family status section, just correcting a typo, adding in the way that we've agreed to format numbers, taking out new employee because that's not really a change in family status. That would just be like your initial enrollment. And then taking out that due to a loss of spouse's employment. And then moving all of that to page 33 under healthcare insurance at the end of that section. Or sorry, it will be page 34.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Was there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, additional discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you. All right, item 6
Okay, so item 6.
is discussion and possible action to revise the county's payment of the employer share of health insurance premiums during leave of absence in the section of the handbook draft. Go ahead.
Okay, I actually asked John to come and speak on this. I had reached out just with a question to answer the question in the note, which says basically you need to just decide what it is. He reported that there's no limit on how long the county pays for
No,
this.
there is a limit. So what I would suggest to do, our prior language is perfect. So if someone's out for leave of absence without pay, they can be up 6 months without pay. And it mirrors our health plan document and says while they're on 6 month leave of absence without pay, they can pay the county direct, and we have that happen all the time, the total cost of the coverage. So it only can go up to 6 months. If someone has leave and they're taking some sort of paid leave, their coverage can extend way longer than that. As long as they have paid leave and they're in employment status, their coverage can continue. So I would be very hesitant of putting 1 year on there. That's for workers' comp. So I'm fine with that. But we need to, if you pull up my section that I emailed Cassie real quick, this last one. So here's our current one, and it touches on all the things we need the handbook to touch on, which the revised one doesn't. So leave of absence without pay not to exceed 6 months, including any leave taken by FMLA. So if they're on any unpaid leave, they can be on the plan for up to 6 months while they're unpaid. And this outlines how they have to make payments to us, and if they want to maintain their retirement. And also, it mentions COBRA if they go off of leave of absence without pay. So this, and we go back to when we have a stop loss claim, we have to pull the handbook and pull our plan document. This outlines it correctly and in detail enough. The new one just is way more refined and doesn't touch on all those points. So I would leave this in there as worded. I mean, you can change some of the wording, but not the points that really matter, because those points are what we go back and say, hey, prove how Mr. Smith maintained his health coverage. So I go pull Mr. Smith's records, and while he was on leave of absence without pay, show me where that's in your policy. Then I go and match everything up. So I would just my suggestion would be to leave this verbiage in the handbook for anybody that's on a leave of absence without pay, because that's what the medical plan document has, same exact language, 6 months. We'd have to revise all that too if we put it to a year, and then it opens even more liability on the financial side if we extend it from 6 months to a year and give them that coverage.
So if we were just to copy and paste this, what you provided, into the handbook, is there anything additional that was part of the other version that we need to add to this?
Yeah, I have the same question. So this specifically, the question that I had about what's in the new draft is for workers' compensation leave exceeding 12 weeks. It says the county may elect to voluntarily continue paying the county's portion. So is there, for workers' compensation, would the county continue to pay their portion?
Yeah, so pull up
And
the
then
current.
for what time?
So let's pull up the current handbook real quick, just to make sure I'm telling you right. From my understanding, it's a year now, but let's pull it up and we'll look at what the policy is. We don't have too many people going on work comp. Let's see.
Okay, and you said it's what now, John?
Workers' comp.
But it's weird, so don't actually wait to the actual paper.
Yeah. That's what they were gonna
Yeah, here we go.
fix.
So go down if you don't mind.
You just need to click.
And see, this is so detailed compared to the new section. New sections, I'm afraid that the devil's in the details. If you don't include all those details, and if something comes up, then they're going to refer back to your handbook, and it's not listed in there. But go down real quick. Okay. So it doesn't have a years. As long as they're on workers' comp, they get to maintain their pay.
Oh, yeah, what's the 12 week, where did the 12 weeks come from?
I don't know, it's just a year period, not based on me, but currently, as long as they're on workers' comp leave, they qualify to be on the health coverage. coverage.
So are we just equating that to the FMLA 12 weeks, or because those are two different?
I don't know. I wasn't involved in that. Okay. So I would just kind of just like our leave without pay section, I would suggest you leave all those details in the new handbook, because there are all situations that could arise, and there's kind of a reason why they're in there if issues arise.
Yeah, maybe this would be something that Brad could weigh on, but I don't know how we would put a finite time limit on workers' comp. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how we would ever be able to predict with MMI as an employee.
So John, all the points in this original version, do you address in this version that you provided?
So the one I provided was only for the leave without pay
Okay.
section, but I would suggest doing the same thing with the workers' comp section of copying the current language.
Mhm.
And there may be some change you can make, but the language that really makes that covers each situation and tells how long it's going to last or how they're going to pay and all the different scenarios, I would suggest leaving those in there. But that's just my suggestion. Since I only do the real benefit side, I would suggest leaving it that they can maintain their stuff and not change it, limit it to a year.
Historically, if somebody's on workers' comp, even if it's for a long time, they've always maintained their coverage. You can always get the flu if you've got a broken arm.
Yeah. Workers' comp didn't cover everything, so they want to maintain their coverage.
Right.
So I would suggest just no limit, copying the same basic language we have now, and then if you need to refine it more, refine it. But it was in there for a reason, was my point.
Right.
So back to the leave of absence thing.
Without pay.
Yeah. Leave without pay.
Okay.
I mean, that only, do we have a lot of people on that status?
Sometimes we do.
Really?
Yeah. We have tons of employees. So
Yeah.
I think 1,300 people.
I was
Other
just thinking,
situations come up all the time.
I mean, the way that you go on a status, unless I missed something, you have to exhaust all of your leave. Then you've got a year's worth of sheriff leave.
A lot of people never go on shared leave. That's an option. So it's at the discretion of whatever department. So they may qualify for shared leave, and they may not get shared leave. So they might be dealing with serious medical condition, ran through all their FMLA. Then the department says, hey, we're going to put you on leave without pay for 6 months to help you get better and hope you come back. But that 6 month leave without pay is when, as long as they can be on the plan. The new policy makes it a year, which should extend it 6
I
months.
should probably know this, but to go on a leave of absence without pay, does it have to be a FEMA qualifying event?
Yeah.
It does, okay.
And even if they've exhausted their FMLA, it still has to be a FMLA-related sickness, injury, illness, something that's FMLA qualifying.
So that's in a totally different area of the handbook, right? Because we weren't we under, or it says health insurance premiums, does it still fall under that?
So this, what he's saying, is not in the new version
Right.
at all.
So somehow, we were working off of the ACO document, which.
Yeah, so when I reviewed each one, I just clicked on the link on the agenda and pulled it up, saw it, and then I made my changes and kind of copy and pasted and brought them. I didn't go off the newest one because I just went on the link that was on there, but
Gotcha.
we can work through each one of these. Which one are we on now? Have we?
We're on item 6.
6. Okay, so that's a county's payment of employer share health and during leave of absence. So that document that I sent, I would strongly encourage, and that's the current language, to include all those points in the leave of absence without pay.
Madam DA, is there a reason in the ACO handbook where it says you can continue to pay the county's portion for up to 1 year, it says which is the limit of such benefit afforded to the state under the Oklahoma Personnel Act?
There is a state regulation under state employee regulations, and the county mirrors that. There is a regulation that basically even if you can't come back, you got 1 year. After that, they can replace you. You lose your position. That's where the year language comes from.
And is that for workers' compensation too?
It doesn't matter what. If you don't come back after a year, you on the first comp, the state can terminate because it's the need to fill that position so they don't have somebody out there multiple years that are taking up an FTE and not filling for the state. But that's a state regulation. I can pull it up probably for you, but that's where the 12 months comes from. Like I said, I didn't write it. It's ACO's version, and that's why, you know, when I said that you go through this, you can add to what you have in your other policy. You can subtract it.
Okay, but
Just
we're,
the further we go from the ACO policy, the more changes we make to the ACO version, then all of a sudden we can adopt the ACO version. You know,
But we're not limited to 1 year.
no, the state can't give more benefits than the county cannot give more benefits than the state. But I think that you would probably be very unlikely to come across those kinds of situations.
So John,
If any elected official comes across an employee who's out on workers' comp or out on any kind of FMLA for more than a year, they really need to be considering other options for permanent disability, you know.
Aaron, what I heard Lisa say was that by statute, it gives the state or an agency of the state the ability to move on from employment from somebody that has been on a leave status like this for more
Within 12 months.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a hard and fast, the agency has to move on. So if we didn't have it in there, we wouldn't be granting a greater benefit to the state because it's optional for the state. But to me, that is more on the employment side and not necessarily on the, even if it were, we're only gonna do this for 12 months, that's on the employment side and not necessarily on the, how long we're gonna allow you to stay on a benefit plan. So that would, if that were an issue, I would think that it would need to be addressed somewhere else in the document, but it sounds like it's just stating in there that the state has that option and to let employees know, like, listen, if you're off more than 12 months, you're likely to not be able to retain employment, but the agency could. Is that correct, Lisa? They could go beyond that 12 months and keep somebody. It's not a hard and fast.
It was that the way the language is written is to make it an option for the employer, not that it's not a requirement that you terminate them, but
So reading this, what happens right now? So let's say that an employee is off on that leave for 14 weeks.
So FMLA, just to recap, FMLA is just job protection, not paid leave.
Non-paid 12
So
weeks.
I could be on FMLA 12 weeks and my employer only has to keep me 12 weeks. So typically in the county, if their medical goes beyond that, departments let them use vacation or sick time. And they'll be paid. Sometimes they just get a portion enough to handle their benefits, and so they don't go into that leave without pay, that higher premium, if that makes sense. And then, so that's kind of the type of people that would go into that, because not everybody would get shared leave.
But if you've got leave, the county pays for your.
Oh yeah, as long as you're getting a paycheck, just enough to cover your benefits, the county's kicking in their portion. It's only when you go unpaid and unpaid in terms of not able to pay your benefit structure, would you go to leave of absence without pay and go to that higher premium level for 6 months.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was. So many nuances.
well, there've been two instances that I recall in my tenure here, Brandon. One involved a motorcycle officers that they were doing a funeral escort. They had that slot, you know, they had an accident. And then the other one was the beloved John Walden when he was injured, when he was doing that shift at Calumet Security. And the budget board met and actually, I believe, if I recall correctly, made an exception, right?
I don't remember.
I don't recall specific.
No, we haven't had any situations in many years that haven't
Yeah.
been handled by, that, you know, the handbook touches them all.
But I think there's an appeal process that the county allowed through a budget board executive session.
Not for this, no,
Okay,
not for this type of situation.
that was
In
different.
this particular case, I feel like I feel like these two are mutually exclusive things, though. I mean, I feel like there's one set of circumstances on workers' comp, and I feel like there's another set of circumstances on medical leave, and then maybe even another set of circumstances on leave of absence.
There is, and that's why they should all be defined. Right now, it's defined in the workers' comp. When you're on workers' comp, this is how you pay, this is what you get. When you're on benefits, when you're on leave of absence without pay, it's not workers' comp, this is what you get, this is what you pay, this is how long it'll last. So each section kind of stands on its own, and it all relates back to how benefits relate with each section. So, and that's how each section was kind of designed in the old handbook. So workers' comp details, this is how long you get your everything. And then if it's a leave without pay, that's separate to workers' comp. And it says this is how you get your benefits, how long it lasts, etc. And so the current leave or the proposed leave of absence without pay would extend it from our current policy to a year. So we'd have to amend the health plan document and think on the financial side, giving 6 months extra coverage to people, how much that would cost. And there's a lot of ramifications to think about beyond just extend it from 6 months to a year. So it's my suggestion would be copy the current language.
I mean, what happens? So though, again, I mean, my question, so what happens to somebody who's currently on work comp for, let's say, over 12 weeks?
So that they kind of have to talk about that. They get to maintain their coverage. They pay us directly if they don't have. But you can speak on how long they can be on workers' comp and.
And if you all, when you're addressing, can you go up to the podium, please?
Yeah, sure. Well, like, okay, 12 weeks is the bad thing. Let's say that somebody's on workers' compensation leave for a year. They currently keep their health benefits, do they not?
Okay.
Okay, so
And
that's why I'm confused.
says,
What's the reason?
as long as you're on workers' comp, they get to have. I didn't change any of that.
Okay.
I think that's not from me. I think that's just from the ACO handbook.
Yeah, I feel like they've got 3 different ideas just thrown together in mashed potatoes, and I don't really understand that.
So that's why our current handbook kind of addresses each one separate, because they're all separate circumstances. And that's why I kind of defined each one of the current handbook. I would suggest we keep that language because it was in there for a reason to kind of touch on each situation that could arise.
And since they are all separate situations with separate circumstances and separate applicabilities, having them all listed individually allows whoever in your department's doing HR and payroll and all of that to go to the applicable section and determine what needs to be handled instead of going to one section and trying to figure out what language in it.
Correct. Because so we have just if we're talking about leave and you getting paid with benefits, we have vacation leave, we have sick leave, we have all that stuff, and that just makes it flow. But the leave of absence is out pay, covers when people go off when they don't have pay. All the other paid leaves cover them. So really, just leave of absence without paying that workers' comp is what we need to keep in there.
Is there ever a scenario where somebody goes off the insurance plan, except for leave of absence without pay?
No, because they're getting paid. So their deduction.
So like they would never come off the plan for work comp. They would never come off the plan for
If they didn't
if they
pay.
got leave.
If they didn't pay us, yeah. If they didn't pay us on work comp. So if they're not getting a paycheck, they have to pay us directly.
So on work comp, how long is like salary continuation?
It's the duration of the month that they're injured and the full following month. So if I got injured today, I would have to the end of it. And then I'd go back to the statutory TT rate of December 1st.
Which is 70%,
Every average.
but they still get a check. Okay. So
And
that
the insurance would be held out of that check.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're getting paid by us.
So I guess the only issue would
Let's either
be,
check.
or the only issue would be is if the 70% was not enough to cover their insurance.
Well, and also the 70% is tax too. So depending what the tax was before they went on the TT rate, it could be like.
Yeah.
And then also that check is got TTA, so it doesn't flow through our payroll system once they're on TT. But while they're on salary continuation, that's cut through our payroll. Once they go to revert to the statutory TTD rate, that check is mailed first.
So insurance is not held out.
No,
They have to pay directly.
We bill them.
But they only have to pay their side, they don't have to pay, the county still throws in their side, which is what we're really talking about.
Yeah, so in the work comp section, currently the handbook, it outlines that. It says you only have to pay blah, blah, let's do this month. due to this time. It outlines how they have to pay, when they have to pay, kind of how long they qualify. And so that's why I suggested kind of leaving it.
So the only thing that, I mean, and I know this is kind of big on spot, but the only scenario you can think of where somebody would be off the insurance is if they were on leave of absence without pay.
Right, yeah, and they're and they're not getting paid and they don't make their payment to us. Or, I'm just thinking.
And right now, they're allowed to make the payment for up to 6 months.
6 months, correct. And they're allowed to be on coverage for up to 6 months. That's really the only reason we'd ever terminate them. Terminated from employment, they no longer qualify, changing our status, or, they don't have to pay. And we give them an opportunity if they want to for 6 months, but if they don't want to, then.
Well, so that's actually a pretty good point. So would we not run it? Would we not run it? Well, maybe we don't, because we have the option of giving people insurance. We're just required to do it 30 hours a week. Right?
Yeah.
But you can get someone that works an hour a week.
Yeah,
Insurance technically.
Yeah.
What do you think ACO didn't differentiate them? Why did they mold them all together? Workers' comp, and medical leave, and leave without pay, because those sorts of big categories to me.
I quite frankly don't see a problem with this because it's not saying you're not gonna take it away. It says they may voluntarily elect. When it comes to workers' comp, you follow the workers' comp rules. Workers' comp rules say they get paid no matter what. This language doesn't conflict with that. They just, for brevity, probably put it in 2 sentences instead of having 5 paragraphs
This seems like
highlighting everything.
This seems like a situation though where both the employer and the employee could get extremely confused because there's lots of moving parts, and I know we wanted to be more brief in our new document, but there may be certain circumstances such as these that brevity may be counterproductive in its actual application moving forward.
Right,
This may be something that you want it more explained out. That way
right.
the
Well,
employer can have a little bit more guidance on how they need to apply it on a month-to-month basis, and employees understand when they're getting ready to encounter a situation, what the circumstance is gonna be, what exactly they're gonna have to be responsible for.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. He asked, why do you think ACO did that? This is the 10,000 foot level policy, whereas training, like when you call in and say, oh my gosh, I've got to go on, workers' comp. You pick up the phone, you call your HR, then you get the HR expert that's going to tell you and give you all those details that maybe that's a training, maybe that is a form of training. Oh, you're going on workers' comp. Let me send you a packet of information that you have. It doesn't necessarily always have to be in the policy manual, but that's good that it is. Well, that's what we've done. We've covered every scenario in the existing policy. Like I said, this was a suggestion. This is what ACO uses. This language is legal. It does not violate any law as it is. If you want to adjust it, adjust it.
So, because if I were to read that, I mean, again, if I read this, to me, it seems like if you're on medical leave or if you're on medical leave, you get 12 weeks. But if you're on workers' comp, you get up to a year. That's the way I would read that.
So I would say, take that section completely out.
Yeah, that's what I think. We just take it completely out.
And pull up that section that I emailed. It was our current section, and it covers it all in complete detail, all the different scenarios and everything. And, I think other areas probably you could, consolidate down. I think workers' comp and stuff in this probably need to be left the same if we can.
So throughout the rest of the handbook, the leave of absence is addressed, workers' comp is addressed, and FMLA and other medical leave is addressed. So, right. Yeah, why don't we just take that section out then?
So go back
To which?
to what we were just looking at, the proposed one. So why would I take this one out is because we're going to replace it with the currently without pay language. Because this doesn't address how it needs to be addressed, all the different scenarios and timeframes. So I would just suggest, because the other one's currently in there and this was meant to replace it, I would just replace it with that because all those other situations are addressed. if that makes sense.
I was thinking this that John gave us. I was like, well, okay, well, if this is really pretty well tied into FMLA, maybe this should be more connected to the FMLA section of the handbook, which we kind of skipped over to table it. And so I was looking back on the document that Aaron's working with, this one, I think, if you go back to page 32, there is this section, benefits during FMLA. No, that's not that one. I'm so confused on which copy is which. In the FMLA section, I guess it's not this document. It's, yeah, somewhere here. It's got a heading, benefits during FMLA.
Which is totally different than leave without pay.
And but it addresses that a little bit in that section. And so then I was thinking, well, should this go there in this, if that's when we're going to have leave without pay,
No,
it's connected to FMLA.
It could be connected to FMLA and it could not be.
Yeah, so that kind of describes some of what you were talking
So I would
about
say,
right here.
I would say the FMLA section covers FMLA. Leave without pay, totally different thing than FMLA. Have it as its own section because they pay differently. They're charged different amounts, different time frames than FMLA. So let FMLA kind of stand on its own. Let leave without pay stand on its own, and probably workers' comp stand on its own. And just for those details that are needed. So employee knows, hey, I'm on FMLA, this is what applies to me, bam, bam, bam. I'm on leave without pay, this is what applies to me. And then when we have to go back and approve those scenarios to insurance companies, I can go pull our handbook, circle it, pull our plan document, circle it, pull their employees' records and say, here's the proof. Give us our money. But if they don't all equal match up, then we don't get reimbursed.
Aaron? We've had a lot to absorb. This is your agenda.
Okay, yeah, I would just move to defer this item to the next meeting to allow everyone time to review the interim. And we can see how it lines up with the other information that's in the ACO draft. And come back maybe with more of a game plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye. You're voting to defer.
I'm sorry, I only heard like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
I said it twice.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. John, thank you.
I still have some more.
On what?
On 7.
Okay, hang
Hey.
on. Hang on.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna go to item 7, and thank you guys for showing up. Really appreciate your presence here. Item 7, discussion of possible action to accept changes to retirement section of the handbook draft. This is Aaron's request.
Okay, yeah, I would like to hear what John has to say.
So if you'll scroll down, I think I only had one change on this. Scroll down just a little bit. So I would replace this recent resolution to the retirement plan document because that's what supersedes everything. I would just say retirement plan document instead of resolution. And then just a Scrivener's thing, I would remove that dash in front of retirement.
Where? Sorry,
Right
I was
here.
looking when you said.
Just
Oh.
So that's the only thing I would change. Replace resolution, retirement plan document, and then take that dash off 457. If it shouldn't be there, maybe it should be there, but that's
You're saying it's not necessary.
from my standpoint.
Okay, yeah, the other changes I'm suggesting in this are just to take out the differentiation between employees hired before December 31st, 2024. In 2022, they voted to go back to that rule of 60 across the board, from my understanding. And then adding in the 5-year vesting information and the 12% contribution from the county, just to have some more solid information of what's actually the practice.
So what was the section you said about the rule of 60 to remove?
The date.
Yeah.
So the rule of 75 used to be after January 1st, 25.
Right.
In 2022, they made it all rule of 60.
Because we used to have, we were in a period with employees with different rules
Yeah.
way back then, and now everybody's in the new rules, so.
So what happens for those employees though, let's say they started January 1st, 2025, and they separated in 2021.
So
They weren't eligible for retirement under year 75, but now they would be under rule 60.
60, they would have to be 5 years vested under the retirement plan document before you retire. And then once they meet the rule of 60, even the previous year's service count. But if somebody came back, they still have to be vested again.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with that section.
Okay, so I would move to accept the changes to that section and removing refer to the most recent resolution and replacing it with refer to the retirement plan document, and then removing that dash from 457.
Dash would fall in the next agenda item.
No, in the next one, I'm asking to add the section after the 457.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor. Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm sorry, Ryan, what was your vote?
Aye, sorry.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
One last one, I think.
Wait for it, John.
I'm waiting.
Appreciate you being here.
I
Really do.
absolutely appreciate you all. That's a big thing to tackle.
We've loved every minute of it. Item 8, discussion, possible action to add a section to the handbook draft title, additional benefits to immediately follow 457 retirement plan. See, there's no dash there. To distinguish the benefits following the retirement section. Aaron?
Okay, yeah, just that header, additional benefits. We have a header retirement, and then it jumps into life insurance, employee assistance program, and just to create a new header there.
Yeah, I'm good with all that.
John approved.
Okay, so motion to add additional benefits.
And that consisted of life insurance and EAP only, there wasn't anything below that.
There should have been
There
more
is, yeah.
Credit union.
Okay.
optional
Optional
benefits.
benefits.
Yeah. So we didn't list, there's so many now, we could have 50 under there, so we're not gonna list, I like that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more now.
Yeah,
Yeah, just a click through.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye loud.
Aye.
You didn't say loud?
I'm sorry.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'm just gonna go all vote.
That was item 9.
Okay, so this,
Wait.
sorry, jumping in.
This is discussion possible action to accept changes to the proposed additional benefits section of the handbook draft to include life insurance employee assistance program, EAP. Live well. Do we have live well, Joe? We don't have live well anymore.
we took that.
Yeah, she's got.
Credit union optional benefits. Aaron, go ahead.
Okay, so just updating this to reflect current benefits, and John, did you have a chance to look over this? And
Which one was
verify
it?
Everything, everything under additional benefits.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So, just looking to accept the changes to update those, categories.
Okay. That's your motion.
And yeah, I will move to approve the changes under item 9.
Second. Is there a second?
Right.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Are we going on to annual leave or?
Holidays.
Holidays. Okay, this is item 13, discussion of possible action to add a definition for holiday leave in the leave benefits section of the handbook draft. Aaron.
So I'm looking to accept the changes to the holiday leave section.
You want to explain it?
Sure. Just removing members of the excise board, the commissioners designate the holidays. And then removing on leave without pay status because it's absent without leave available.
Okay. Is that your motion? Okay.
So that, on the last sentence, so who does not work on the day immediately preceding and the working day immediately following is not paid for the holidays? We do that?
I've always.
I don't think you can do that.
And then, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that last, are we allowed to do that last line? So on the holiday pay, if you don't work the day before and the day after the holiday, you don't get paid for the holiday?
I'll have to look at that.
So actually, if you're on absent without leave status. So it's, for example, if you are
No, God, no.
Oh, yeah, if you're,
with no
absent
leave.
without leave, then yeah, that would be right. Because if you're absent without leave,
Already
you're
on
already
absent.
absently of status, you don't get a holiday, you don't get holiday.
Okay, so that's specifically for those that are on
Absent.
without leave. And.
Any county employee who is absent without leave.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm good with that. I separate those two as mutually exclusive.
Okay. So we have a motion. Is there a second? A motion and second. Any additional discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. We're on item 14, discussion possible action to add.
14?
11.
Holidays and holiday leave are two different things.
Good Lord, I'm jumping around here. So we're now on item 11. Discussion possible action to accept change to leave that section of the handbook draft and to move the section to immediately follow admin leave in the leave benefits section. So you're just, can you go to changes and then you want to replace it where it's positioned?
Right back into the leave benefits.
Did our accumulation limits change?
I thought that 20 plus went to 640, that I don't know if that actually happened or not. I know the state was looking at it.
Yeah, it did.
The statute did change. The county practice, I don't know if that changed.
The
Or
state?
county policy, the state.
The state has changed.
But the county has not adopted.
Not that I'm aware.
I don't think we would.
No, and that, I would ask, and I don't know if you have, if we asked last time.
Yeah.
If you've
Are
got,
you sorry?
Can I use it?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna use
You're gonna throw it at me.
So was that for just over 20?
It is for just from what I remember.
And it was, what was
for all of the 5 to 20
I think the state has it. So this comes down to, if we're gonna make this recommendation, then I'm fine with the wisdom of the group. I would suggest that you discuss this with your elected officials, and we are the recommending body, but it'll come down to their call.
Stacy, what's the state's policy now?
It's changed in 2024. Less than 5 years is 240. Anything over 5 years is 640.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they did do everything above it.
So for
240 below 5 and then 640?
right,
Anything over 5.
Only 40 has changed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
that's the state.
Okay.
Lisa had pointed that out to us, I believe, in the ACO version. This comes down to, like, I looked, I had to sign for my time this morning, and I looked and I have 476, and it's October, I believe. And so at a certain point, it goes away, or I can donate some and bring it back. But when we get to, this is the discussion you need to have, in my mind, with your elected official. When you get to payouts, when people retire, that's a big chunk of money. I believe 16 hours, 16 weeks.
Yeah, 4 months.
And so in the past, I may misunderstand. The sheriff's office has not, am I right or wrong, has not been in favor of such.
I don't think we have a preference.
Okay.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, nobody budgets for payouts anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have.
True in our budget.
I mean, honestly, I thought about that bunch. If all of a sudden tomorrow we had 1,100 employees say it's time for retirement, I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, and not only that, I know in our district, if we have somebody that's up this high, I mean, we encourage them to use their leave. They've earned it. They need to take their time, and enjoy some time off.
Yep.
So we encourage those that are close to do that.
I'm actually headed to Florida on Thursday, so I'm gonna burn some of mine off, but.
I mean, it's one of those weird things too. I mean, it's, because when you do get to that, I mean, and you accrue so much, I mean, you get another, 5 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people don't take more than 5 weeks anyway during
Right.
the year. Honestly,
It's
that's
hard for
that's
them
kind of
to
a nice
burn it
transition
down.
to whatever they're trying to do in the, after retirement, or after separation.
I'm not afraid to stand out in front of budget work and say it's our recommendation. If this group were to vote for 640, I'm not afraid to ask for that.
Is this the only, Stacy, is this the only area in the state's leave policy that we don't abide by? Is we've kept our accumulation limits back. I mean, we do the same amount of rates per month, right?
Well, they have
Same
it.
years of service rates.
They do theirs monthly. So the rate, we have ours set at a certain rate per month. Theirs is.
Okay, they do it by days. I know we kind of hashed that out and battled that out at one point, just because, remember, at one point the system was calculating it based on how many hours you worked, and that became a nightmare for the law enforcement officers because you accrued all your leave by like the 20th of the month, because you already worked so many more hours than standard civilians or whatever. So it's kind of weird, but the bottom line is it's still the same amount of hours at the end of the year, right? Because they count the day as 8 hours, which is functionally what we do too.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of discussion.
So we'll need to defer this.
Well, yeah, we could go ahead and I like your idea, Brandy, but at the same time, we could, if we wanted to, we could say we're going to recommend 640 and then put it on the agenda for the next meeting. But I hate forecasting.
How they're gonna vote?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can put this,
Pending the approval of.
and then we can have a companion item related to this specifically. Okay.
So, are you able to accept that?
So what?
think we're gonna modify that to 240.
I guess without discussing, with my elected official, I would just want to add the current practice and then, like Randy said, have a companion item for recommending it to change. Rather than just going and putting the change into
Right.
draft.
Sure, I like that. So this is your item, or, Randy, will you make your motion again?
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to, accept changes to the annual leave section. To include the, 640 over 5 years, contingent upon the vote and approval of that policy change.
You mind scrolling down right quick to like page 39 on there or whatever, to see what the next section says. And that's what I was gonna look at. Is there a section, is there anything that indicates that it will be paid out?
So I think that was it, just where,
Gotcha.
just for,
I saw the underlying part, also a strike through, so I was like, okay, gotcha, okay. I'll second that motion of the part.
Any other discussion?
I just figure whatever saves the county. I don't know.
Get rid of all
That
the
year, because
leaves.
you're right, it's a lot, I mean, that's a significant extra chunk of payment. And we are, because I just know where there's already so many things we can't afford to do that people want to spend money on. Like adding one more thing.
What do you suggest we lower the accumulation limits to say?
No, I'm just saying, I would keep it at 480. I don't know that I would say, oh yeah, let's raise it even more to a higher number, just because we hear so much discussion about already what we can't afford around here. I don't know.
I understand.
I wouldn't raise it just for that reason.
I think it's also difficult though when we talk about things and wanting to do certain things, and it's like, well, no, we can't do that because that's a benefit greater than what the state gives. So we can't do this because it's greater than the state, but then we won't give the benefit that the state actually gives in other areas. I think that.
It's not. It is great. It's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's just one more thing.
Thank you for your input. Anybody else have a comment before we vote? All in favor of Brandy's motion, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Brandy, say that one more time. Contingent upon approval. Approval by
But
By the budget
board.
board. Yeah, we'll have to write a companion item to vote on this specifically, to change the 480 to 640.
Okay, thank you. So now, are we item 12? This is item 12. Do you need to
No.
And we are moving this. That was part of what we just voted on as well. That we are going to move it to a new place in the handbook.
To that leave benefit section. So page 16.
And it's not already there? Okay, wow.
Not that specific.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Item 12, discussion possible action to accept changes to the sick leave section, the handbook draft, and move the section to immediately follow public health emergency leave in the leave benefits section in the working draft. Aaron?
okay, just adding reasons that you can use sick leave. So this says personal illness or illness of a spouse, child, parent, or legal dependent. Current practice is medical, dental, or vision appointments, medical, dental, or vision appointments of a spouse, child, parent, or legal dependent. So adding that in. The FMLA language, I would recommend removing if we can, if it's duplicative of what's already in the FMLA section. And then adding in that a doctor's note may be required when you use sick leave.
And it's worthy to note, I put it in red, that's, if you'll scroll up, Cassie, please, to, current handbook, we have no limit on sick leave. And, somebody like, Jerry Stone for, who works for Butch Freeman, Jerry's got like 2,000 hours of sick leave. And there's people like that. Before 10 years ago when I had my first knee replacement, I had something like 12 that That's insane. So, I used practically every bit of it at the time. So, that accumulation limits, it's the ACO. Our county policy has been no limit on sick leave. Sick leave, no one gets paid for it. You just accumulate it, you can donate it, you do not get paid for it. It was considered, if I recall correctly, that people, this is under the old policy, you could use it to qualify for retirement.
Says you do get paid.
So the statutes listed after that, I mean, is there anything statutorily that we have to follow, or can just say what we want to do? I don't know what those statutes say. There's a statute after sick leave that.
It doesn't have that limit.
So we can do what we want.
With changing it to the current practice, which is no, and just removing that column.
Now, nobody gets paid for it. If you really leave or if you get fired, nobody gets.
And so you're adding, just to be clear, this kind of highlighted section here. This is all new verbiage.
No, I'm actually wanting to take it out.
Oh, okay. So it's highlighted because you want to take it out.
Yeah, I didn't want to take it out because it's FMLA and I don't want to take out anything that's necessary, but since we have already such a large FMLA section, if it's agreeable to everyone in the district attorney's office, I would think maybe it doesn't need to be there.
Are you okay with removing all of that?
Yeah, yes, because sick leave, I mean, the one thing about it being sick leave, a lot of times there's intermittent FMLA. So
Yeah.
if you've got somebody who has to take their child 3 times a week to a doctor's appointment, they're gonna need to be on intermittent FMLA. And they're, even if they have the sick leave to take, if it's unlimited, they're gonna probably need to be placed on FMLA. They just need some type of, maybe one sentence that says, if you have a recurring health condition that requires sick leave appointments, refer to the FMLA section for your rights and duties or something like that. I just think it's good that it's fine to take that out. Like I said, it's that is covered in the FMLA. So that I think the reason ACO had it there is because that's more common than you think when you have somebody that's regularly taking doctor's appointments. And they think, well, why do I have to be on FMLA? I have the sick leave to take, but I think it's important that there's up to 12 weeks a year they need to be.
So I would like this defined also a little bit more, because right at the beginning of sick leave, it says that Oklahoma County employees shall be entitled to sick leave with pay that are accrued monthly in accordance with the schedule. And the only time it mentions any separation is termination and not collecting pay.
When you use your sick leave balance, when you take off,
You get paid.
Say that again.
if you use your accrued sick leave, when you take off of work, because you're.
I'm not talking about that. Say you've accrued so much sick leave and you quit or you retire.
It's not
You
compensable.
don't get paid for
I think they should say that. That's why.
It does this termination.
Just mentions termination.
Termination instead of saying upon.
So
Just change termination to
You wanted to
separation.
say, yeah, that any accumulated sick leave is not compensable upon separation.
Yes.
We fixed the issue where we used to prorate sick leave based on the amount it was worth, right? So like, for example, if somebody did shared leave, if I made $30 an hour and you made $90 an hour, you can give me 3-1. We don't do that anymore, do we?
Right.
Okay. Because we used to assign value to it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just the hour.
Hour for hour.
Same way with vacation.
So you're saying that termination is implying that they got fired, and you
Yes.
want it to not sound like it could be any reason that they got. So termination can't just mean I can terminate my own employment?
It's a separation.
Okay.
Technically, if you quit, that is still a termination, but
That's kind
for,
of what I thought, but,
For the average person, when you hear the word terminate, you think of the fire.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's got a negative connotation.
So the group is gonna potentially put an accumulation limit or no?
Right.
We don't know yet.
We don't have an accumulation. I'm not willing to change. it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, or if we do, I would rather propose a cutoff date or something effective July 1 or January 1 going forward. You've got one, but it doesn't make sense to me to go into people's books right now and just subtract 1,000 hours of leave from their current bank when they hired on under that particular guise. And I get that there's a value to it, even though we say there's no pay. I mean, if somebody can take off a year with pay, because they got sick leave, that's obviously way more than somebody can take off 6 months, but still, I don't.
I also think if you put an accumulation limit in it, it encourages people to burn their leave that they accumulate as opposed to, you know,
I think that we're gonna have a lot of people sick down to June 30th.
yeah,
Accumulation limit. Yeah.
I worry about productivity of
Yeah.
the entity itself, dropping off.
If we have an employee who's using sick leave when they should be on FMLA, wouldn't that just be considered abuse of?
No, yeah, FMLA and sick leave, they're mutually exclusive of each other.
Right, but if
Because you'd be on FMLA and be on annual leave or holiday or emergency shutdown or anything.
at all.
but our concern is that if we don't have a limit, that people would just use 12 weeks of sick leave instead of going on FMLA.
They don't have the choice.
They don't have a choice.
No.
Okay.
If you have a FIMLA
You have to go on
event, your employer can put you on FIMLA,
So I think we
even if
could,
you don't.
Yes, so that's an internal policy. I see what you're saying. That's an internal policy. Yeah, you can force your employees on FMLA.
so we could say for FMLA qualifying events, employees may be required to use FMLA coverage concurrently with sick leave or other leave.
Now, Aaron, I heard 2 amendments, Paul's and Lisa's.
Okay,
Do
yeah,
you
let me-
accept those amendments?
I think so. Let's run through all of it. So, motion to accept the changes, removing the accumulation limits column. Removing
So you
the
don't even have that column at all? Or do you want it
Yeah,
to say
I
no
think you
limit?
can just
in the
say-
column?
employees accrue 10 hours of sick leave per month and just take out like the whole chart.
Yeah,
Don't say
that's
no
from the
limit.
ACO handbook. But-
Yeah, I don't think it has to say no
Yeah.
limit. I think it can just say accrue 10 hours per month. Removing the highlighted section and replacing that with, for FMLA qualifying events, employees may be required to use FMLA coverage concurrently with sick leave or other paid leave, other available leave. Adding in the position statement and then, when separating from employment, the county, an employee will not collect pay for accrued sick leave.
it says when terminating employment. Paul, your word was
Separating.
separating from the county. Aaron, is that what you suggested? in your
Yes.
Motion. Okay. Paul has stepped out.
Aaron, say that one more time about the FMLA qualifying events. Employees may be required.
May be required to use FMLA coverage concurrently with sick leave or other available paid leave.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor.
Hang on one second. The FMLA though, you said may have to use FMLA leave. Is that what you said?
Coverage.
I think maybe, I get what you're saying, but I think maybe if we said the employee may be required to enter into FMLA status, just to make sure that it's clear that there's not FMLA leave and then sick leave, they don't get any, because we get that quite a bit where people think, oh, I've got 12 weeks of FMLA leave, like that's on top of something else. Yeah, it's more about the department placing them in that status, in the FMLA status.
So to read, for FMLA qualifying events, employees may be required to enter into FMLA status concurrently. And then I would say, and use sick leave or other available paid leave concurrently.
I need to write faster. Enter FMLA status concurrently.
So let's do, for FMLA qualifying events, employees may be required to enter into FMLA status. And
Full stop.
And to use sick leave or other available paid leave concurrently.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Are we on the holiday time, item 13, holiday leave? Item 13 is discussion possible action to add a definition for holiday leave in the leave benefits section of the handbook. Direct. Aaron.
Okay, so jumping back to page 18, just want to add in our comp time, our holiday leave, our annual, so it's all in one place. So just adding a brief definition for holiday leave. 18. Oh, right there, you just skip that. Yep. Oh, there it is. Thank you. So also adding in the accrued at 8 hours per holiday, regardless of your work schedule. I know that was something that we wanted to make sure that we included. And also that it can be paid out upon separation.
For law enforcement coding, this holiday leave is accrued at 8 hours, even though they may have a 12-hour shift.
Yeah, we've had those discussions.
Yep.
I think it should be different, but according to state law, my understanding is it can't be different.
So you're okay with it? All right, is, Aaron, you want to make a motion?
Yep, I'll move to accept item 13.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. No one opposed. Thank you. Item 14, discussion possible action to add a definition for comp time in the lead benefits section of the handbook draft. So I think we're gonna continue to scroll.
With,
Top of page 18, or 17, I'm sorry.
Cassie's getting work.
Again, adding a short definition and adding that employees will be paid upon separation. This language about the rate of pay comes from the labor laws.
I think we should note somewhere in there, if they transfer, it will move over. Because comp time is the only thing that gets paid out when you transfer.
So if you go from, like, I work for almost everybody, you know, the commissioner's office, the sheriff's office. It's where I have worked in my 20 years. So, you're saying that once somebody transfers, it's a
It
payout?
moves over.
Oh, it moves up.
Yeah.
Carries over.
Mhm.
So another elected official, Mr. Warren, when he accepted me for this or that, it carries over to him. Does everybody track?
That's not the same with annual sick
No,
holiday.
comp time is the only thing that gets paid out.
yeah, she's
Oh,
saying
it
that it
gets
doesn't get
paid out.
transferred, it
It
gets
does
paid
not
out.
get transferred.
Right.
Okay.
So Stacy, would, I see what you're saying. I've got a question beyond that though. If we have an employee that is a non-exempt employee and they have comp time and then they either transfer somewhere else, I guess if they transfer, it wouldn't matter because they're getting paid out no matter what. But if they move into an exempt role in that organization, then that comp time would also be
Paid out.
compensable at that particular time. So if we're gonna add language that says that any accumulated comp time would be paid out upon the transfer of an employee from one elected official to another, we may want to also mention
Or status change between non-exempt and
that it
exempt.
would be paid out in that situation as well.
Aaron, you like that amendment? You accept it? And you state your motion, please.
So a motion to approve item 14 with the addition of a sentence that accrued comp time will be paid upon transfer to another county department or to an exempt position.
How about you've got upon separation, if we did upon separation, comma, transfer within the organization, comma, or status change to exempt status.
Or part-time status.
So it's upon separation, transfer to another county department. Or transfer to an exempt or part-time position.
That's Aaron.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I move to approve with that.
Is there a motion? I mean, a second, excuse me. Thank you. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, I think, we can make a motion to, what do you want to call it, to get it off the agenda.
The strike?
Strike. Thank you, Cody.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye. All right, let's do item 16. After this, we're going to jump back to item 3. Is that correct? Okay. Item 16, and thank you, Cassie, for this. She's put together a schedule of meetings to be, I think, quarterly for the next year. There will be a new chairman, he said with emphasis. And that vote will take place, if you guys agree to the schedule, on January 13th. So, is there a motion for this? I'll move.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
And I'm assuming that this was double checked for holidays, making sure that we're not out any of these days. Okay.
And are we saying this will be the only time we will meet?
No,
Oh, we
not
do.
always have
necessarily.
special meeting.
This will be the regular schedule that's filed with the Secretary of State by December 15th.
And it just
Everything else is special.
helps us in planning our year, because we've been in special meeting. Want to double check?
Those do not look like holidays, but
Tuesdays are really hard.
right.
Second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We can always correct. All right, we're gonna jump up
Jumping off where?
to item 3. I'm not sure you were here yet.
2.
Is it 2?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Item 2, this is regarding FIMLA. Aaron had some recommendations.
Okay, yeah, so at the September meeting,
I'm sorry, can we get a motion?
So,
All in favor?
What's the motion for?
To remove it from the
We
table.
tabled it earlier. I was like,
okay, so at our September meeting, we had deferred to this meeting to allow the DA's office some time to review. We just wanted to bring it back. And see if
well,
you-
let's go ahead and go. The only thing I like to remind you all is that the whole purpose of adopting the ACO is that we were similar to what all the other counties were doing. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with either version, so it is up to you to make these decisions, but the content of the ADCO version is what all the other counties are using and relying on in their safety numbers. The herd mentality, okay? It's fine that if you want to do this, I highly suggest not making many changes to a version that's already been vetted by attorneys, more than just me. With that being said, you taking out information does not mean that it does not exist in the statute. That's the whole point. And I get what you're trying to do here. I'm just saying that, my preference is always going to be to stick as closely to the ADCO version as possible for the reasons that I proposed it to begin with, which is that safety numbers, this is what ADCO is doing. When we go to the auditor, we can say, well, this is what all the other 77 counties are doing. So if we go and do it on our own, that's fine. Like I said, none of these changes are fundamentally wrong. They're just changes. So that's all.
No, you're good.
Aaron, I would be, taking out of the definitions is not
We already,
like eliminating them.
I think we already approved that in
Yeah.
September.
And so, there's a thing here that says we're gonna use the terms and definitions as, so we accounted for that. And then It seems like these other changes are kind of, what I was thinking was they're sort of similar in nature. Like we're still referring to FMLA, but just not, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of was the feeling I got of some of these other changes, but maybe not. That we're saying this is in FMLA. If you want to go look up the gory details, go ahead.
And there's, like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Like I said, taking them out doesn't change the law, the status. You know, going back to John's point, he's like, when we're making brevity changes, is this the area you want to make the brevity changes in? This is always the contention area. So, like I said, this is at this point, it's a preference, not a legal question.
So I would make a motion to approve this section, however, to leave in the second part of the first paragraph. I think the 7 years upon further review actually needs to be in there. So that's the only thing that I felt like I shouldn't have taken out. So I would leave in those sentences, but just make these other changes that are more to make it make sense to people that work in Oklahoma County, and not like a content change.
You said it was, but leave in the second part of which paragraph?
The first paragraph under on page 19. So
Just want to make sure I have the right
removing the
paragraph.
strike throughs, but approving the other changes.
Good. Everybody make sure you read through this. You heard the DA. You make sure you understand what Aaron is proposing.
Let me know when you're ready.
I don't. So what you're pulling up here is not the same thing that's attached to the agenda.
Yeah, it's Aaron's, the ones that are listed for Aaron.
This attachment?
No.
So when I clicked on the one that's attached, I'm not seeing that on
So
page
it's the
19.
attachment from the last meeting, but this section should still be the same, but since it was separated, it's the attachment from September, not October.
Attached to each of them. If you want, I'll pull that one.
No, let's not.
It's still gonna just.
Keep going.
I'm probably the only one that's confused on what page we're on.
Leah, if you go under item 2, it's attached.
That's what I did, but okay. Okay. To this one. Page 19. Is that what we're at?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's 19.
So Aaron, if I'm seeing this correctly, Kathy, scroll down a little bit more. We do have a hyperlink, correct, to the United States Code.
Yeah, in that section, the definitions has already been approved. So you can kind of disregard that.
Right. So it's just the page, is it page and a half technically?
So it's page 19, 20, and then it picks up after the definitions on page 26. There's just some minor changes from 26 to 32.
And for clarification from the last meeting, was that setting the language that I was wanting
Yeah, that needs
to
to
look
stay.
at.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I think it's important for it to stay, she's moved it back in. But like I said, even if you take it out, it is in the FMLA guidance and it is in FMLA. So like I said, whatever you do here, when you have the hyperlink, you're covered. But that was the only, from before, that was the only language that I was concerned about being strict.
To which part? The
This
top of this
page,
page?
yeah.
Okay.
So Lisa, restate what you just said about the 7 years.
This,
please.
from the meeting last time, the reason why that I wanted to go back and look at it is because I didn't like the 7-year language being stricken. I thought it needed to stay. She's added that back in. That was, and like I said, upon further review, just because you strike the language doesn't mean you have the hyperlink. Anything you strike or amend to this, as long as it's not a misrepresentation of law and you've got a hyperlink, the fact that it's something that we don't put is about FEMLA isn't in here, that's okay. It doesn't make it not apply or exist. I'm just saying that now that it's back in, that was my only,
Yes, sir.
everything else is pretty much like changing human resource. All these other changes don't give me any pause.
I thought the section you were gonna review was the Oklahoma County will also require both periodic reports during the leave of an employee's status and his or her projected date of return to work and a written release from his or her physician to return to work. I had just moved that from page 32 to page 31. I thought that was what you were wanting to review.
Yeah,
Or is that okay?
yeah, it's fine. I have paused with a little bit of that only because FEMLA is very specific about how many times you're gonna have to have serious training in your own departments on this, because yes, you can ask for certification. You can't continually call your employee as they are out and ask them for medical documents on everything with them. There's gotta be needing to be training, because you can actually violate somebody's FEMLA rights if they've already been approved, provided their certification, and then you're asking for doctor note. Like, it's gonna come down to training and the internal. But like I said, it's allowed. I just worry that if you're using this to train your employees, you're gonna need to do some further training about their limitations on that particular provision.
Would it help to add just a comma at the end and say as allowed by law?
Perfect.
Okay, I would amend my motion to include that language to on page 3.
At the end, all recertification requested, that sentence, as allowed by law, where are you pointing to add?
On page 30, and it's in the green. It was copied and pasted from. And, yeah, right there. So
And
right
you're
before
adding
benefits.
at the end of the sentence, as allowed by law.
Mhm.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Any additional discussion?
I would like to see page 28 and 29.
Yeah.
Okay, you can scroll down.
When we're sorry, excuse me, roll back up just for a second, I'm sorry. Where it says section, little article, can't see, where it says 825-309 of the FMI, 825-122J or whatever that is. Should be. We should hyperlink. Okay. I'm just making, otherwise somebody's gonna type it in. Okay. Cody, at your description.
You can go down to 29. Okay.
Okay, there was a motion. Was there a second?
Just, can you scroll down the pages to add it to the last part of the sentence? Where it is it's that require both periodic reports during the leave of absence. That's what I'm talking about as a lot. It's the requiring the periodic reports.
Okay, so it should read, Oklahoma County will also require both periodic reports during the leave of an employee's status, comma, as allowed by law, comma, and his or her.
We could put as allowed by law at the beginning and just say, as allowed by law, comma, Oklahoma County will also require both. Blah, 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 blah. I like that.
You fine with that, Lisa?
Yeah, I just wanna make sure, cause it's mostly about those, what I'm focusing in on is there's only so many times you can ask for those periodic reports before it can create a FMLA claim. For a violation, you know, because we're harassing them, we're asking them every week for a periodic report while they're on FMLA, we're probably gonna be in trouble. So I think that it's those periodic reports, not anything else in that sentence, it's just.
Well, if we put it at the beginning, it covers all of it, so. I don't know. Making sure we're doing what's allowed by law for everything in that sentence.
Yeah, I agree. I like that.
You okay with that, Aaron?
Aaron, where you put 15 minutes there instead of the shortest period, what was the reasoning for changing that?
Because 15 minutes is the shortest period that we use to account for leave.
Currently, but has that been the practice for how long, and because if that did change in the future, say we change systems or, you know, Munis all of a sudden switches to 20 minutes instead of 15, then we've got to come in and alter this document. Whereas if we just leave it at the shortest period, then it doesn't matter when those situations may change in the future. We don't have to worry about coming back and changing this document.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but it has been like that for so long that I think it makes more sense to somebody reading this that may not necessarily know. I think if we did change it, then we would have things probably updated in the handbook regarding that.
Allowing Cody to process.
Whose process?
Do we have a second to the motion?
Ryan had seconded, are
Thank
you
you,
still
Ryan.
seconding?
All right, all right. Seeing no additional discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Pam. We've done the schedule of meetings. Citizen participation, any citizen wishing to address the board? Seeing none. Board comments.
No, thank you.
Oh.
I think.
No, thank you. Yeah. Please. Hey,
I'll make a motion to get out of here.
real quick,
I say, good job, Aaron.
just a reminder, this is a living, breathing document.
Notes.
All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All opposed. Love you guys. Thank you so much, except for Ryan.